We continue our discussion on the uh, legislative branch of government. Right now, we go to the electoral tribunals and the commission on appointments. First up is the electoral tribunal. Section 17 mandates that Congress shall each have an electoral tribunal, one for the Senate and one for the House of Representatives. Each tribunal is composed of 9 members, 3 of whom shall be justices of the Supreme Court, to be designated by the Chief Justice, and the remaining shall be members of the Senate and or House of Representatives, as the case may be. The membership of the political component of the electoral tribunal shall be selected on the basis of proportional representation. Thus, you have 2 electoral tribunals. One is for the Senate, the SET, and the other is for the House of Representatives. You call it the HREP. What is the function of the electoral tribunals? The sole function of the tribunals is to be the sole judge of all contests relating to the election, returns, and qualifications of their respective members. So it says that when you speak of the jurisdiction of the electoral tribunal, they refer to the membership, not anymore the candidates, because when the candidates have already been proclaimed in the elections, the only remedy is not with the COMELEC but with the electoral tribunal, because the Constitution highlights that any election contest, no, on the members of Congress shall be with the respective electoral tribunal. This is also in the case of Vincent Chato, COMELEC. Once a winning candidate has been proclaimed, taken his oath, and assumed office as a member of the House of Representatives or as the Senate, as the case may be, the COMELEC's jurisdiction over the election contest relating to his election returns and qualifications ends, and the HRET or the SET for the Senate, their own jurisdiction begins. So again, looking at the case of Barbers and Vincent Chato, remember that cases falling under the jurisdiction of the electoral tribunals are only those which relate to contests, electoral contest returns qualifications of the members, not anymore the candidates, because now they have already been elected, so their elections are disputed. Aside from being elected, they have already been proclaimed, taken their oaths, and assumed office. Composition, each has to have 9 members. The judicial component are from the justices of the SC to be our Supreme Court, selected by the Chief Justice. While for the political components, 6 members on the basis of proportional representation. Now, there are political components and the judicial components. Both components, political and legislative, cannot be done away with. This case of Abbas versus Set mentions that the Set cannot legally function as such absent its entire membership of senators. Okay? Because the Constitution intended for both the judicial and legislative components to share in this performance of these functions. Okay? Like in the case also of request of Justices Herrera and so on, in 1991, Supreme Court also said that the functions of the uh, the constitution of or the participation of the judicial component, meaning the courts, is not also something that you can do away with in the electoral tribunals. Therefore, the Supreme Court declined the request here of the justices to be relieved from their membership in the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal because they have to be there. Party list representatives can join the HRAT, but they have to get the sufficient number in order for them to have the so-called proportionate representation. If they don't have the numbers, then that's almost difficult to achieve, actually. Because if they don't have the numbers, then they cannot get a seat here. But based on the mere membership of 20% of the party lists in the Congress, in the lower house, it's difficult or if not impossible for them to be in the electoral tribunal themselves. What's the nature of the function? What is the nature of the function of the electoral tribunals? They are the sole judge of all contests relating to the elections, returns, and qualifications of the members of each house. As such, their nature includes that they are of a constitutional creation, meaning that their functions are mandated by the Constitution, and that they are separate from Congress. This shields them from bias or prejudice or from political influences. The fact that they are a constitutional creation, they cannot be abolished by law. Appointments cannot be played around with because the Constitution mandates their existence. Their functions are mandated by the Constitution. The sole judge of all contests relating to elections, returns, and qualifications of the members cannot be decreased by the courts or by Congress because it is a constitutional mandate. And they are, once they are constituted, are separate from the Congress itself. They are selected from the partisan political parties, but once they are elected, they become independent from political prejudices. Okay? According to the Supreme Court, the independence of the Electoral Tribunal would have ever be a myth and its proceedings farce if the House of Reps or the Senate, or the majority party therein may shuffle and manipulate the political component of the electoral tribunals to serve the interests of the party. But because they are shielded from partisan activities, then even if their vote is opposed to that of the party, they cannot be prejudiced. They cannot be removed, in fact, from their office as members of the electoral tribunals. So the member legislators thereof, upon the assumption of their duties therein, sit in the tribunal no longer as representatives of their parties, but as impartial judges. Okay. So the electoral tribunals have constitutionally defined powers, the incidental power to promulgate rules necessary for the proper exercise of its exclusive powers of the tribunal, must be deemed by necessary implication to include all powers that are needed in order for them to carry out their functions. These powers are granted by the Constitution and cannot be diminished by law. The decisions of electoral tribunals may not even be intruded upon by the court. Okay? Any final action taken by the electoral tribunals on the matter within its jurisdiction shall, as a rule, not be reviewed by the court. Okay? As a rule. Okay, as a rule. Of course, the same is subject to judicial review in case there is a commission of grave abuse of discretion. So we have now the commission on appointments. There's a commission on appointments required by the Constitution. Consists of the President of the Senate as the ex-officio chairman and 12 senators and 12 members of the House of Reps. Their function is to act on all appointments submitted to it for confirmation. So this is the composition. The President of the Senate and the senators and the members of the House of Reps, 12 each. 12 each. So there are 25 members of the Commission on Appointments. As membership in the Commission is a political one, its appointment is based on political affiliation also. Okay. To a point that because it's a politically charged body, any changes in the political composition of the parties might affect also the membership of the CA. But the changes in the representation of the CA is not affected by temporary alliances. No? Kasi political siya na function, unlike the electoral tribunal. If there is a change in loyalties in by the member of the CA, may be replaced. The problem is that temporary loyalty, that change of loyalty must not be temporary; it must be permanent. Otherwise, there will be instability in the commission on appointments. A shifting of votes at a given time, even if due to arrangements of a more or less temporary nature, like does not authorize or suffice to authorize a reorganization of the membership of the commission. Functions of the CA to confirm or approve nominations made by the president for certain offices, including those in your screens, heads of executive departments, ambassadors, other public ministers, officers of the armed forces from the rank of colonel or naval captain, other officers whose appointments are vested in him or the president under the Constitution. Um, these are the other officers, chairman and the members of the constitutional commissions, regular members of the Judicial and Bar Council, members of the Regional Consultative Council. Sessions and procedure, quite interesting. The commission on appointments meet to discharge their powers only while the two Congress bodies are in session. It's called by the chairman, or if the chairman does not call for a convening of the CA by the majority of all its members. The chairman does not vote except when there's a need to break a tie. Majority of the vote is required by all its members for a confirmation. Remember that there are two types of appointments. We have the regular appointment. This is the appointment that is made while Congress is in session. So the appointment must be submitted to the CA, and CA must act on it within 30 days. But if there is no act within 30 days, it's tantamount to a disapproval of the nomination. We also have ad interim appointments. This happens when the appointment is done when Congress is not in session. Okay, it takes effect all at once immediately, but when Congress convenes and the CA eventually, the appointee must submit himself to the jurisdiction of the CA.